All right, buckle up because today's deep dive is gonna be a wild ride. We're talking digestion, folks. That's right. The ins and outs of your digestive system.
And you've given us quite the roadmap. You've got notes, diagrams, research papers. Someone's been doing their homework.
Oh, yeah, we're diving deep into this one. So we're going to break it all down for you. The esophagus, stomach, intestines, even those unsung heroes like the liver and pancreas. But don't worry, we're skipping the boring textbook stuff and going straight for the good stuff, those fascinating facts you can bust out at your next dinner party.
What always blows me away is how this system can be so incredibly complex
Yeah.
and yet so efficient all at the same time.
Right. It's like a perfectly choreographed dance happening inside us 24/7 and we don't even realize it. But since we are talking about it, let's start at the very beginning with that first bite and the incredible journey through the esophagus. One of your notes describes it as a muscular tube that moves food along, not in one long stream, but in these little parcels called boluses.
Bolus, yeah. It's a funny word, but it paints a pretty accurate picture.
It does, and the way it travels through the esophagus is fascinating too. Those muscles in the esophagus wall actually change as we go down, right?
Exactly. The upper part is skeletal muscle. That's the part we can consciously control.
Like when you're trying to discreetly swallow a massive bite of food.
Precisely. But as we move down the esophagus, it transitions to smooth muscle that takes over with those involuntary contractions called peristalsis. Then there's a lower esophageal sphincter, basically a muscular valve at the bottom of the esophagus. It's like the gatekeeper, making sure everything moves in one direction down.
Makes sense. So a faulty gatekeeper is what leads to heartburn.
You got it.
Okay, onward. So our little bolus friend has made it past the gatekeeper and into the big leagues, the stomach. And wow, you weren't kidding about the diagrams. It really is that distinctive J shape. And get this, the stomach can expand to hold up to 1.5 liters. That's incredible.
It's like a stretchy, muscular bag, those folds you see in the images called rugae. They would allow for that impressive expansion. Think of them like the wrinkles on an empty balloon.
Ah, makes sense. So the stomach is where things get really churned up, right? Both literally and figuratively.
You said it. We're talking mechanical and chemical digestion happening at the same time.
Okay, break it down for us.
So mechanical digestion is that muscle action we talked about, churning everything up into what we call chyme.
Time. Lovely.
And then there's the chemical side. Gastric juice comes in with hydrochloric acid to break down proteins. It's a tag team effort in there.
Wow, so it's getting churned and bathed in acid. Sounds like a spa day gone wrong. But I guess it's a good thing our stomachs are so durable. Here's something that surprised me. Almost nothing gets absorbed directly into the bloodstream from the stomach, right? Except for alcohol and aspirin.
That's right. And that's actually why those substances can be so hard on your stomach lining. No time for a slow and gentle breakdown.
Oh, makes sense. Another thing I found interesting, the stomach has 3 layers of muscle, but most of the digestive tract only has 2. What's up with that?
You're right. It's that triple muscle action, oblique, circular, longitudinal, that gives the stomach some serious churning power. We're talking perfectly mixed chyme here.
Okay, so we've got this perfectly churned chyme. Sounds delicious, right? Ready for the next leg of the journey? Where to next?
Time for our chyme to hit the road, a 20-foot-long winding road called the small intestine.
20 feet. That's like longer than a car. And it's all coiled up inside us?
Pretty incredible, right?
Seriously. No wonder we feel like we need a nap after a big meal.
And it's not just one long tube either. The small intestine has 3 different sections: the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Each one has its own specialty when it comes to breaking down food and absorbing all those good nutrients.
Speaking of absorption, I'm looking at this diagram of the small intestine's lining, and it's definitely not just a smooth tube. It's almost like fuzzy.
Ah, you've discovered the secret to the small intestine's success: surface area. It's all about maximizing surface area to soak up as many nutrients as possible.
How does it do that?
Get ready for this folds upon folds. First, you've got these big circular folds called plicae circulares, and then on top of those, thousands of tiny finger-like projections called villi.
Hold on, tiny fingers. That seems oddly specific, but cool.
It gets even cooler. Each villus is covered in even tinier projections called microvilli, the ultimate absorption system.
So we're talking serious surface area here.
Hundreds of times greater than a smooth tube.
Like some giant, super absorbent towel for soaking up nutrients.
Exactly. And each villus has its own network of blood capillaries and lymphatic vessels to whisk those nutrients away.
It's amazing. The body really thinks of everything. Okay, we've been on this winding road, literally. What's next for our intrepid chyme?
From the winding road of the small intestine, we arrive at the final destination, the large intestine, also known as the colon.
Things sound a little less active in the large intestine, like the calm after the storm.
You could say that. The large intestine is all about efficiency, absorbing water and electrolytes from the remaining indigestible stuff, solidifying it into waste, the ultimate recycler.
And get this, trillions of bacteria live in our large intestines. It's like a microscopic city in there.
It's true. It's called the gut microbiome. And those bacteria aren't just along for the ride. They actually play a big role in our health.
What do?
They help us break down certain fibers, produce vitamins, and even influence our immune system.
Our gut bacteria affect our immune system?
Yeah.
That's wild. We've covered the digestive superstars, the esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. But what about the behind-the-scenes crew? Those accessory organs that might not be directly on the digestive highway, but are still crucial players.
Yes, the support team. Can't forget about them.
Exactly, like the salivary glands. They do so much more than just keep our mouths from drying out.
Right. Saliva actually has amylase in it, which is an enzyme that kickstarts carbohydrate digestion.
So digestion starts before we even swallow.
You got it.
We're giving our systems a head start. And then, of course, there's the liver, the ultimate multitasker.
Definitely a VIP. It filters the blood coming from the digestive system, removes toxins, processes nutrients, and produces bile, which is essential for digesting fats.
Bile, now there's something most of us only think about when we're feeling sick. What does it actually do?
It's not the most glamorous substance, but bile plays a vital role in fat digestion. It acts as an emulsifier, breaking down large fat globules into smaller droplets that are easier to digest.
And the gallbladder is where bile hangs out until it's needed, right? Like a storage unit.
A very efficient storage unit. When it's time for bile to do its thing, the gallbladder releases it into the small intestine, perfectly timed for optimal digestion.
So we've got this incredible team of organs, enzymes breaking things down, nutrients getting absorbed, but it's not like we're consciously telling our stomachs to churn or anything.
It really is like a perfectly conducted orchestra, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you're right, we don't need to pick up the conductor's baton. It all comes down to this amazing interplay between our nervous system and hormones.
Okay, so walk me through it.
Well, think about that feeling you get when you smell your favorite food cooking. That's your nervous system already kicking into gear.
Ah, so my stomach's rumbling before I even take a bite.
Exactly.
It's like my brain's sending a text message like, pizza's on its way, get ready.
That's a great way to put it. The vagus nerve is a key player here.
The vagus nerve.
Yeah, it acts like a superhighway between your brain and your gut, sending signals to get those gastric juices flowing even before that first bite.
Wow, no wonder we hear so much about the gut-brain connection these days. But what about the other organs? How do they know when to jump in?
That's where hormones like secretin and CCK step up.
CCK.
Yeah, stands for cholecystokinin. But we'll stick with CCK for short. These hormones are released by the small intestine and basically act like messengers, telling the other organs what to do.
So it's like a relay race. Each part of the digestive system passes the baton, and the hormones are the signals to the next runner.
Exactly. For example, secretin tells the pancreas to release bicarbonate, which neutralizes the acidic chyme coming from the stomach.
Ah, so it doesn't burn through the small intestine.
Exactly. And then CCK signals the gallbladder to release the bile at just the right time.
Wow. It's incredible how all these different parts are talking to each other, working together. Makes you appreciate how much is going on inside us every day without us even realizing it. Well, there you have it. We've traveled the entire length of the digestive system, from that first bite to, so, well,
We've seen how muscles churn, enzymes break things down, and nutrients get absorbed. It's an incredible system.
We even dove into the world of gut bacteria and how they impact our health.
And don't forget the nervous system and those hormonal messengers, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Right. It's truly remarkable how it all works together.
Absolutely.
Well, after that deep dive into the digestive system, I bet you'll never look at your lunch the same way again. Until next time, happy digesting.